Hi, my name's Yeshan and I'm a senior UMAT tutor here at ACE. And today I'll be taking you through 3 UMAT tips as well as going through an actual UMAT question as part of an ongoing video series called ACE Teaches UMAT. My first tip is to ensure that you've had adequate time to prepare prior to the final examination. Now, while the UMAT is typically considered an exam that cannot be prepared for, with people having had great success in the past, having undergone no preparation, this unfortunately isn't necessarily the case for all people. In fact, given the high pressure situation of the exam, only having one shot at the test in the whole year, a lot of external pressures on the day can cause people to perform much lower than their actual optimum ability. Now, on the best day, most people will find that since this is a general abilities test, you can actually perform really well in the UMAT. Unfortunately, the problem is that lagging tail. And this variation that we have between our best optimal performance and our worst is typically what preparation is able to help fix. With tutoring and other examples of preparation like practice questions, you may be able to improve your maximum. In fact, a lot of people are able to improve their maximum, but the real benefit of that is with this lagging tail. By having more and more preparation, we ensure that the variation doesn't fluctuate as much, and we can bring that variation up such that the difference between your best and your worst is much lower. And that is the real value in preparation, ensuring that our variation and fluctuation between our best and worst performance can be as minimal as possible. My second tip is this concept of damage control. And why I like this very much is because the UMAT, to most people, might actually be a very simple test. Unfortunately, what makes it really difficult is the timing. 3 hours for most people really does not seem like enough time. In fact, most people struggle for time, which is why I really like it and endorse the idea of damage control. If you start with this mindset that you're running out of time, that means that you're pushing yourself hard for the easy questions. And you know that if you encounter a really tough question and you spend 5 minutes or more, then just saying to yourself, look, I've already crossed out A and D as answer options, for example. It's essentially a 50-50 guess right now. If I spend any more time on this, I'm going to lose out on questions later on, and it's not really worth it. So I just say, in those situations, just select an answer option and just know when it's time to skip. Just guess one of the answer options out of the work you've done. Skip and move on. Because really, getting that one difficult question isn't worth missing out on 20 questions at the end. So tip number 3 is what I like to call having the right mindset. And this ties in very nicely with tip number 2, which was to have the idea of damage control in mind. Now, with having the right mindset, what this essentially means is going in there and thinking, with the easy questions, I'm going to go in hard, I'm going to go in strong, and from the get-go, adopting that mindset. Because what I've found in my many years of tutoring is that typically people fall into 2 categories. Those that have this correct mindset and those that have the more passive approach of going, I'm just going to see how I go. And unfortunately for these individuals, they're usually the ones that end up struggling for time in the end. Okay, they start off and they're not really going as fast as they could on the easier questions, and that makes them even more struggle for time in those more difficult ones. And that can really weigh heavily on someone, especially in that high pressure situation. Feeling like you're struggling, feeling like it's all getting away from you. And a lot of those people end up coming back again in second year. And after they've done that, and I've sat down and I've told them a lot, you need to go in there thinking more aggressively, saying, one shot, I'm going to get it done, and then I'll never have to worry about this again. And when they go in with that more focused mindset, that's typically when they don't have any issues with their timing because they've gone in hard from the beginning and they usually achieve great success. We're going to move over to the whiteboard where we're going to go over an example of a more difficult question from the UMAT from section 3, which, if you don't know, is the puzzles and patterns section. So join me as we move over to the whiteboard.